Coming up on this episode of the Weekend Warm-Up, David Buchanan picks out two midfielders for high praise, Danny Dichio reminisces and pines for Preston, while Paul Huntington opens up on his last few months. All that and so much more, it's the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up.
Yes, hello and a warm welcome to this edition of the Weekend Warm-Up. A very special guest with us in the studio, Paul Huntington. First most important question, we'll talk about loads between now and the end of the show. How are you?
Great, thanks, yeah. Back in training, looking forward to being hopefully involved a lot more in the coming weeks.
We'll talk about those coming weeks in the coming part of this show. But let's first of all remind you about the two games since the last time that you and I spoke. That was the visit of Stoke City to Deepdale and the trip to Birmingham City.
The corner in towards the far post. Everson manages to claw it away underneath his crossbar, and Emile Rees will try and play it off his man, but instead he's kept it in. Sanderson gets it back and now crosses, and it's a good header. Oh, it comes off the crossbar. It was Troy Deeney. Sean Maguire will watch it through back to the goalkeeper, and it's came back off him and just landed over the crossbar. Here's Rees now, who's in very good form too. And now Josh Earl on his right foot. Oh, it's a good save by the goalkeeper. Earl went for the near post. Jeremy Bella now with a chance to run, with Vandenberg trying to get back into position. Now it's Chong, who gets past one, lays it off to Sunic. Chong again now, getting through and forcing a good save from Daniel Everson. A good stop from the goalkeeper there to deny Chong. Vandenberg running with the ball at his feet, tees it up towards Rees. Great chance and a great save by the goalkeeper. Emile Rees might have another opportunity here, but he's offside. It's Ledson who whips it in this time. It's gone through bodies, an appeal for handball, but the referee unmoved. The some 1,200 North End fans were quick to appeal. Deeney hit the woodwork in the first half. Here he is again now, backing in to Story, laying it off to Bella. Hogan's waiting in the middle here, and it goes behind him, and it's cleared off the line, and it's followed up by Colin, and a brilliant save from Everson. Well, this all-action game is continuing in the second half, and Birmingham coming close twice there in quick succession. Now Jacob Brown, good movement from him, but needs a bit of support. It's Timon who is providing it on the far side. There is options in the middle, and it is a good cross, and it is a good header, and Nick Powell plants it into the side netting, and it's Stoke on their travels who get a huge lift here at Deepdale. The visitors continue to look bright, and here's the chase again, coming out for Vranic, who's looking for the cross, and this time it's another shot, and it's a very good save from Everson. He was at full stretch. Now Whiteman flicking it out here for Rees from a tight angle. It's Rees across the face of goal. Now Saunders, who's trying to find a good ball up for Vranic, and Vranic with the mistimed shot finds Powell again. It's a brilliant save from Daniel Everson. He spread himself big and he got a hand to it. Here's Earl trying to bundle his way forward, and he's been bundled down and gets a free kick there. I think Whiteman will have a go here. It is Whiteman who finds the top corner. Brilliant goal from Brent Whiteman. That's what he can do from dead ball situations, and he gets his side level before half time with a superb free kick. Here's a long range effort from Cunningham, and that was some effort.
Stokes having the lion's share of the possession and just as we say again, turning the screw and looking dangerous.
And it's a dangerous ball in, and it could be a chance here for Stoke, but another fantastic save from Daniel Everson, the third of the game, and he's just unbeatable at the moment.
So there you go. So the unbeaten run, as we say, continues. I think that's 9 unbeaten now. X is next to a lot of the games if you're playing the pools coupon as well. But what did you make of it?
I felt as though it was a tough game the other night. Obviously Stoke were a good side. They're going well in the league. Obviously we've had to dig in and do a lot of defending. I felt as though Dan, our goalkeeper, he has done many times before, has been, you know, a really important player for us, and thankfully he brought his gloves the other night and managed to make a few saves.
This is classic defender speak, isn't it? Oh, it's his job. It's his job.
No, I mean, obviously he's there, you know, when they get past us defenders, really. So yeah, he was needed the other night and he made some top saves, which thankfully got us a point. I think we've played a lot better in previous games. Maybe not got some results earlier on this season, but yeah, it was a tough game, and I feel as though they'll at Stoke, just going off that game, haven't seen a great deal of them this season, but I think they'll be up the top end of the table, so it was a good test.
Yeah, I think he has got them really organised. I must mention that free kick though, even if it's just a chance to show it again now, but not bad, was it?
Yeah, I think he's got that in his locker, hasn't he, Ben? I think he scored it the last 3 home games I saw on the club's social media yesterday. So yeah, 2 free kicks. So yeah, hopefully the more he can do that, that's obviously great for us.
Good. We're going to talk a bit more about you shortly. We're going to open up Pandora's box and have a chat about how you've been recently. But I caught up with a former player, a couple actually. We'll speak to David Buchanan before the end of the show, but Danny Dichio, Deech, whatever you want to call him, the big tall fella with the Cockney accent who loved his time at Preston North End and says some really, really lovely things about the club. You'll hear a lot of him in 2 parts. The first part tells about him coming to North End.
Deech, let's start off then. Thank you very much, obviously, for doing this. I'll ask you about Canada in a moment, but first of all, when you left Millwall to join North End, I think Brighton were potentially in for you as well. So what was it about Preston, Deepdale that made you go there?
Well, it was tough, to be quite honest, Crabbers, because I was down in London. Obviously, I'm a London boy, and I was back near my family, and I've been around the country at Sunderland and West Brom. And we'd eventually gone back to Millwall thinking, yep, we're going to settle back in London and see out my career there. But things were starting to decline at Millwall. We'd got to the FA Cup, we'd gone into the Europa, but they started to sell players. And Ray Wilkins and Dennis Wise, who were big factors in me joining Millwall, had left as well. So they departed, and I'd spoken to the president and the owner at the time, and he said, look, we've got to move players on. We're changing our finances a little bit, and there's clubs that have come in for you, and I'd spoken to a couple, but for me the biggest project was under Billy Davis at Preston. They got to the playoffs the year before, and I'd played against them in the championship, and they'd had a really strong squad put together, and that excited me. So I spoke to my wife at the time, Claire, and the family, and we were a little bit upset in moving, but we'd done it before, we were experienced at it, and I was just sold on this project by Billy and what he wanted to do with the club in taking them to the Premier League. And that was basically it for me. I went up for talks, spoke to the owner at the time. I think it was Derek Shaw, was it, Crabbers? Mistaken me wrong. Yep. Really good guy, and a family guy. And he just said, look, you're a big part of this. We're building a forward line that we feel can compete in the championship and get us to the promised land.
Ribble Valley Shelving, Derek's company, if you remember that sponsorship as well. I'm looking over your shoulder there at the North End shirt. I remember when you signed, actually, and texting you saying I was really chuffed that you got the number 11 shirt as well, because some of my favourite players at North End had worn the 11 shirt over the years. So how did you feel when you sort of went in there and pulled on the famous Lily White?
Well, it was funny because being a big number 9, I'd wore number 10 at Millwall for a little bit, which was very strange for me. And then coming to Preston, they said, look, the only number we've got in the starting 11 is number 11. And I was never a flying winger in my time, as you know, Crabbers, more of a stick it up to the big man kind of player, number 9. So they said, number 11, we'd like you to take number 11. And obviously a lot of experienced players had played the number 11 position at Preston. But as you know, numbers were non-existent back when I was playing then, and there was fullbacks playing as number 6, there was strikers playing as number 2, so it was all different when I joined Preston. But to actually pull on the jersey of a famous historic club like Preston was enlightening to me, because I'd played there a couple of times but didn't realise the history of the club, and it was fantastic to be part of that. And I was really excited to be part of that group, that team, and also starting to get to know the fans as well, and how much of a community club Preston was.
Is it fair to say that, 2 seasons you had at North End, is it fair to say that the first one was a mixed season for you, both personally and I suppose getting to the playoffs by the end of it ultimately as well?
Yeah, it was a mixed season because, I was speaking about this on a podcast I did the other day about how strikers that are not in form, like Harry Kane and certain players, go in a little bit of a dip, and it really affects their mental state. But when I was at Preston and I was really struggling to find the back of the net, it was strange to me, because I didn't feel like I had a lack of confidence. I had the belief and support around me with the players that I was playing with. I was obviously setting up goals with David Nugent and fellow strikers. I was assisting goals, but I couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But the support I had from the fans, the players, and most importantly from the gaffer himself, Billy Davis, said, you're going to be playing every week. You're doing everything I'm asking of you, whether it be defensively, whether it be linking up the play, being a platform for us to play off, and the goals will come. And it took a long time for the goals to come, but I really, truly believe that the support of the group that I was playing with and everything around me, the support stuff, really helped me, because I wasn't feeling like I had a dip in form, or I wasn't feeling confident. I knew that it would come eventually.
More from Deitch between now and the end of the show, but I need to talk about you for just a second or two, because you haven't been involved a lot, and I know a lot of people don't really know the full reasons why, but you're happy to sort of talk about it now. I know you were being protected for quite a long while in terms of it, but you've not been tickety-boo, have you?
Yeah, so basically, following on from end of last season really, wasn't feeling myself, went to the club doctor, had a few tests done, heart scan, and that was all fine. I had an asthma test done, thought it could have been that was all okay. And then I came back pre-season, I didn't feel myself really, just in that I felt really tired, shattered all the time, not as in day to day, but training, I was finding things a lot harder than, I was having to work a lot harder than, what I'd known. So yeah, I had my bloods taken and it showed that I had low iron levels. So
not just low, really low.
Yeah, so basically it's the red, well, as I found out at the time, I didn't know a great deal about it, but it's your red blood cells, which is your oxygen to your muscles, and I was below half of what I was needing. So the doctor sort of said, I'll have to stop what I'm doing. I did like the first week of pre-season. The fitness coach, luckily Tom Little, that I've had here for the 9 years, well, coming into this 10th year, I've known him for a long time, so he knows me inside and out really, that I kind of look after myself over the summer. I do, I take care of my fitness, and he knows what shape I'm normally in, so it wasn't like me really. And yeah, had my bloods done and it came back that I had to stop what I was doing for the next 4 weeks. And yeah, I was prescribed tablets and had to change my diet. So it was a case of building gradually my fitness up. With the fitness coaches, I could do 50% of my max heart rate, and then it was 75%, then it was 100%, and then it was the last 4 weeks training, building up. Obviously, we played a reserve game after I was sort of training 3 or 4 days, and then played a reserve game. So now, basically feeling good, and as I should really.
I know you're quite matter of fact about this, but were you not worried?
It was not something I've had in before, any time in my life before, so I didn't really know a great deal about it. But obviously, you Google things, you look into things yourself, and the club doctors and the physios and even the fitness coaches have been really good. But yeah, I have sort of had to be careful that I haven't overdone it until I've got back to the levels that I should be at. It was basically like I was having to, the physios and the club doctor told me it's like you're training at altitude when you've got low iron. It's like you're having to work 2, 3, 4 times as hard as what you should do, really. So even things like a warm-up you would find a lot more strenuous than what you should. So whereas now I'm back to normal. So yeah, really nice to be involved last weekend. Obviously we're on a good run, an unbeaten run, but yeah, like anyone, chomping at the bit to be involved, and hopeful to play my part between now and the end of the season.
Do you know why it happened, and do you have to do anything differently than you did before now?
Yeah, so diet has to change. I have to eat more red meat, more dried fruit, nuts, things like these. That I wasn't really eating loads of red meat, because you're told a lot once or twice isn't really more. Once or twice a week isn't great for you. So I didn't really have that, but. Yeah, so I'm on tablets, and now that's not as much as previously. That was like 3 times a day, but now it's less, every couple of days. But yeah, just the dietary changes and the causes. They reckon they thought it could be from. So I had a camera put down, and they had a look around, and they thought it could be from painkillers over the years. You take anti-inflammatories for games just to get you through games when you've always got something. Any footballer, you'll know, they'll tell you that you never go into a game 100%. Yeah. So it's just when the physio's there, during the warm up, do you want a painkiller?
You see them, don't you? You send them a bottle of water. Yeah.
That's the only thing that they could. I haven't taken them over so many years, and maybe a build up of that. But yeah, as I said, feeling great now, and enjoying training, and just looking forward to keep building my fitness. I know we've got a game, next week, and there's obviously one at the weekend. But yeah, glad to be back, and sort of you take it for granted when you're out there, and everything's you're just enjoying it, and you fitting well. So yeah, strange sort of to miss pre-season, and it took me. I missed the first couple of weeks of the season while I was building up that fitness, but the fitness coaches have been saying I was like a different, a new man. So I'll take that at my age.
I'm not going to mention anything about your age, because obviously I'm far older than you'll ever be. Right, there are more things to ask you about, so you're all right just hanging around for a little bit longer. Good stuff, because first of all, Dave Buchanan has been speaking this week. He came to watch us at North End during the week. You'll have probably heard him on I Follow P&E on a few times as well, doing the co-commentaries. But we spoke to him this week about a couple of players at first that he's got his eye on. He's a big fan of Ali McCann, and also, especially after that free kick, Ben Whiteman.
Ali McCann, speaking about him, young Northern Irish international, obviously being a Northern Irish under-21 international myself, and my family being there, I take a lot of interest in watching the national team and stuff. So I've seen Ali McCann when he was up in Scotland, everybody talking about him being like one of the best young players up in Scotland, and you know what type of talent they produce. We've seen that for ourselves in the Premier League. And for Preston to get a player of his calibre for the price that he did at his age, full international, it's all credit to Frankie and his scouting team. And he's a real box-to-box midfielder. He looks only slight in size, but he's one of them players that can find. He's not scared to put a tackle in. He'll run forward and try and get you a goal. And as you've seen in the Cheltenham game when he got his first start, I know it's less opposition, but always seems to find space and very composed on the ball and can pass the ball around the pitch. So I actually think him and Ben Whiteman would really, really complement each other. And in terms of Ben Whiteman, I played against him a lot, and I think in the Preston side not of late, but in the Preston side when he first came, I think when he came from Doncaster, he was one of them players who was scoring goals and liked to get forward, but he was being asked to, I think, don't know if he's being asked, but it looked like he was being asked to, just sit in there a little bit more as like sitting. But when you see the set pieces that he can take, and obviously the goal he scored the other night, you know, he's capable of getting forward and chipping in with a lot of goals. And I think this year he's one of them players that has stepped up and is really making his mark on the team as like a key player.
So it's QPR next. They had a good win during the week against Birmingham City, and they needed that as well. I think that was their first win in 5 or similar to that. So as far as we're concerned, going down to their stadium, is that, what do you do? Do you bear in mind their previous 4 games when they haven't managed to pick up a win? Are you extra wary because they'll be full of confidence? So how do you anticipate the game going against QPR this weekend?
I think it's another tough one, because if you know that Loftus Road, you know, it's a really one of them stadiums where they get really behind the team, and you know, it's a brilliant stadium.
Tight, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's really close to the pitch, so the atmosphere, and you know, they're another big club at the level in terms of the fans demand and expect them to do better. So, you know, it'd be a difficult game. They will definitely, they come out, and that's where the manager likes to play, really go and attack the game and, you know, get after the opposition. But that's ultimately why they concede at the other end as well. So, you know, I think Preston have got a good balance now. I think Frankie's got that thing where he's trusting the players that he's picking in the team. They're all stepping up to mark in terms of doing the job. But, you know, if we are being critical, you know, we've got to turn draws into wins. And I think it's just that last little bit at the end of the pitch, you know, to get our noses in front, and, you know, then we'll be difficult to beat.
So just finally then, because you've alluded to it there, I mean, we're 9 unbeaten, but we have drawn the last 5 in the Championship at least. So from someone who has been part of a North End squad that's got to 2 playoffs, what do you need when you're trying to build that momentum, I suppose, to get to the top 6? I think we're something like 5 points away from the top 6, something like that.
I think when you're on a good run in terms of being unbeaten, then you've got to just keep the building blocks on that. You know, I think any team that wins the league have always got the best defensive record. So you can take some like positive in terms of, from our group, when we got promoted and when we got to the playoffs, we were very much similar where we played and we were really difficult to beat. And then we had that little bit of, if you saw, spark in terms of Becks and Garns, who you knew would always get you a chance to score, and always one of them would come up with a big goal. Or we had great set piece takers, and you know, you'd have Clarkey or Hunts, for example, who I think Hunt scored like 10, 11 goals, didn't he, in that season? And I think that's what it is for Preston. I think the lads just should stay positive and, you know, confident of where they're at and the type of run they're on. But, you know, you don't want to be drawing too many games. Sometimes I think as a player, you know, you want to go for it a little bit more. You might lose, you know, if you draw, for example, I know it's maths, but if you draw 4 games, you get 4 points. But if you lose 2 and win 2, you get 6. You know, so sometimes you've got to take the shackles off, and it's like, let's go for it. If we get done at the other end, then maybe, but I'm sure that's what the supporters would like to see as well.
And if that doesn't fill your cup up with David Buchanan, I'm sure we'll hear from him between now and the end of the season on many more co-commentaries. Who can get enough of Dave Buchanan? Don't answer that question. Right, more a little bit about you, because as if that wasn't enough for you to be concentrating on in terms of what's happened to you physically. Meanwhile, Lindsay gave birth to the lovely baby Dolly, but she came along an awful lot earlier than I think anybody was expecting.
Yeah, nearly 7 weeks in the summer. So I got the first, well, she was in special care, so obviously being premature in Carlisle, yeah, we were in the hospital for the first 4 weeks before we eventually got her home. But yeah, she's growing fast now, and she was tiny, 2 pounds 14. On June 17th, she was born, but and she's now over 10 pounds, so she's doing really well. So big change, really.
I mean, it's a lot to think about when you become a dad, full stop.
Yeah.
Let alone when you've got the extra worrying complications. Did you I know I'm going deep into it.
Yeah.
But you have said that's okay. So I'm going to, if that's still okay.
Yeah.
It is a lot to think about. Did you cope okay with that?
Yeah, it was just the unknown, really. I just went on the doctor's advice, and the medical staff, the physios, the fitness coaches knew quite a bit about it. And yeah, it was just a case of doing what they said and building back up, which was frustrating because you want to have a good pre-season, you want to, impress in pre-season, and obviously Frankie came in, and last season I was just on the bench. I wasn't playing a lot the last 6-7 games, so yeah, it was frustrating at the time, but you kind of need to listen to the experts, I guess, and put your health first. And then yeah, it's just been a case of the last 4 or 5 weeks training, feeling really good, feel a lot better really than what I did before, so maybe it was a blessing.
And it's just getting you match fit now, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had the one game, 90 minutes. Another 1 or 2 would be great. And obviously we've got games coming up, but yeah, just enjoying training every day, being out there with the lads. And as I said, not just happy with that, wanting to push the other lads, and obviously, as I said,
push them out the team.
Yeah, well. You said it, but yeah, just eventually, getting back in
the
and
nicest
being
possible
involved,
sense,
being
of
involved.
course.
Yeah, you know what it's
healthy
like,
competition.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you all right for another couple more minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Right, stay there because more from Hunts in a moment. But let's have that second part of the Danny Dichio chat. He's already said all the right things, and he knows it was a mixed first season, so a change of manager in between his first and his second season, and then he went through a little bit of a purple patch, certainly at Deepdale, where he scored 4 goals in 3 games, including one memorable match against Leeds United, revenge of sorts for that playoff semi-final defeat, a Halloween treat for him, but he certainly loved Preston North End. So let's have a bit of a closer look on that second season.
Your second season was probably better personally. I remember you having a really good spell at Deepdale. I think you, in fact, I checked it up. You scored 4 goals in 3 games at Deepdale. It was a real purple, including a Halloween game against Leeds United, which is still spoken about around here as well. You destroyed them that next season as well. So given all the good stuff that there was then happening, and knowing how much you loved living here as well, how difficult was it then when Toronto came calling? I know Billy had gone and Paul Simpson, I think, had come in. But how difficult was that choice to up sticks again and go off to Canada?
Well, it was a strange start to the season for me when Billy had left and Paul Simpson had come in, and he obviously has his own ideas and his own players that he wants to work with, which I totally understood. But being kind of an experienced guy, a veteran guy with that group, I was surprised when he kind of called me in before even our first training session and said, "We've accepted an offer from Brighton for you." And I said, "Well, I haven't even been speaking to Brighton, so that's news to me." And he said, "Well, you're not going to be part of my plans, and moving forwards, you're going to struggle to find games." So I said, "Listen, I've moved the family up here. I'm committed to the club. I've signed a contract for this long, and I don't want to go anywhere." And he basically said, "Okay, I respect your decision, but just to let you know that it's going to be difficult for you to play games." I think they brought Michael Ricketts in that year as well, who was obviously a player that he worked with, which I respected. I respect players coming in that have worked with gaffers before and they've got their own ideas, but I put my head down and I wanted to show him that I could be of value to that squad. As you said, I started off the season really well. I scored goals. I think I surprised Paul Simpson and his staff as well, because I was starting every game, doing pretty well. And then we kind of filtered off halfway through the season, or just after Christmas, and things started to take a tumble again. And I'd always had the end goal of finishing my career in North America. We decided as a family that we'd moved around England a lot, Crabbers, and it was our dream to go and take our young family across to North America. And I had a couple of opportunities with Chicago Fire and DC United. But the real kind of contract offer came from the newly formed Toronto FC, an expansion team, as they call it here in North America, led by a Maurice Johnson, who used to play for Glasgow Rangers and Celtic.
And you were the first ever goal scorer for the franchise. You went down in history books, and a friend who was out there said there was a massive billboard with you on it. They saw every single day. So it's one of the best things he's ever seen in his life. You're a bit of a legend out there, aren't you?
Yeah, a humble legend, I'll say. Yeah, it's kind of strange to see yourself up on a billboard scaring commuters every morning. But no, it was a fantastic season to be part of, because we have our teams in England that have such a long history, including Preston, who are one of the oldest clubs in England. So to be part of the beginning of a new club, whether it be in a new country, a new continent I'd never played in before, was exciting times. And to be the first goal scorer, they played 3 or 4 games away from home before I'd actually joined them. So they were struggling to get goals. And to get that first goal wasn't my most prettiest of goals. I bundled it in with a couple of defenders at the time, but it went in the back of the net. And the elation of the stadium that day, there was seat cushions given out as a gift to fans that day, and they rained down on the pitch that day. And it was just an exciting day and a memory that I'll take to my grave, because for an English boy coming across to North America and being part of history of a club that's now been going now for 16 years or so, and being the first goal scorer. I was playing golf yesterday, and a guy that I was playing with, who I had no idea who he was, shook my hand at the end of the game and said, just want you to know I'm a big fan of yours, and I still remember that day. So I still get those conversations now and again, and it's a great memory for not only me but for my family as well, Crabbers.
I bet you didn't remind him you were also the first player to get sent off for Toronto FC, did you?
People don't mention that. I mean, I got applauded for that as well, Crabbers. So that's my first time I've ever got applauded for getting a red card. So an experience I've never experienced before over here.
Just finally, and I probably should have started with this, but it's lovely to see that you've still got the North End shirt with you out in Toronto as well. But just in terms of your overriding memory of being here, and how you're doing over there as well.
Well, listen, my daughter Alessia, she was born in Preston, so she's a Lancashire girl, even though she sounds like a fully blown Canadian now. But we have real fond memories of Preston, because we lived just outside of it in Lytham, which was a lovely place. A lot of players lived there as well, so the social side with the wives and everyone together was really good. We had a really good team spirit then, and it's an area that I think if we ever moved back to England, we've always said that we would move back to Lancashire and that part of Lancashire, because we really enjoyed our time there, good people. And it was just, for me, it was a little bit of an icing on the cake, Crabbers, because I was coming towards the end of my career in England, and just before we moved to North America, where I was going to finish my career, I think it was a kind of pat on the back from someone up above who said, look, you've had a good career, son. Here's your last bit of England, playing for such a historic, lovely club like Preston. And as I said, I had a good rapport with the North End fans, and I fully respect them for giving me that last piece before I moved to North America. And now I'm across here and enjoying my life. We fully settled here in Toronto, Canada. It's a beautiful country to live in, a very family-orientated country, very outdoorsy, a little bit like Lancashire, lots of lakes and mountains everywhere. And
they're puddles over here, they're not lakes
well.
compared to your lakes.
It rains a lot here, but drastic winters over here that you don't get back in Lancashire. We get like 6 foot, 7 foot of snow, outdoor ice rinks, and minus 30 degree weather. So we have to combat with that, but it's something that we've kind of accustomed to now.
So there you go, Danny Dichio saying all the right things about Preston North End, and he's on Twitter as well, but he's a bit boring, so I won't bother following him. He'll never hear this, he will hear it, won't he? It's on YouTube. Let's just pretend it was him that said it, not me. Do you like playing games?
Not a gamer, but in terms of, quizzes.
So like quizzes, so are you a Trivial Pursuit sort of guy?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I think, does anybody play Trivial Pursuit anymore? I'm not sure they do they? Well, we've got a game, and it's called, I can't even remember what it's called, but you've got to guess as many things as you have to in 30 seconds. Okay. So say, like I said to you, how many different flavours of crisps can you name? 30 seconds, go. Don't do it
probably
now.
struggle.
Don't do it now, because instead we've got Ali McCann and Josh Murphy, who are playing their own version of what you will certainly enjoy.
I'm Josh Murphy.
I'm Ali McCann.
This is Name Them.
First question is, how many members of the current Preston North End team do you think you can name in 30 seconds?
20?
20? Yeah, go on then.
Oh God.
I'm not going for 21, not a chance.
That's 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, me, you, Dick, Greg, Izzy, Raf, JT, Josh Harrop, Josh Earl, Brownie, DJ, Ched, Emil, Pat, Husey.
Who's that clock?
Oh, how long have we got left?
3 seconds.
Oh, no. How did I get?
Way off it.
You got 15.
Oh, that was so close.
Right, so obviously you both recently moved to Preston. You spent a bit of time in a hotel room. So my second question is, how many things can you name in a hotel room in 30 seconds? So I'll ask you first.
8, maybe.
I'd be able to do 7. So yeah, you go for it.
Right, I'll go for it. I can manage that. 30 seconds, surely.
3, 2, 1, go.
Bed, bedside table, lamp, cupboard, TV, curtains, chair, kettle. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Flying. Spent enough time in there.
Right, so back to you, Josh. How many sports which involves a ball can you name in 30 seconds?
10?
I'll go 11.
Okay, on you.
Right.
Yeah, Elliot. So it's 11, yeah?
Yeah, count me in.
3, 2, 1, go.
Football, rugby, golf, tennis. I'm struggling there. American football.
Ooh.
Oh no. Baseball, basketball. Oh, mine's gone blank. Surely. Squash. Ah.
Yes.
Mine went completely blank. I couldn't.
That's 8.
That's harder than you think.
To celebrate the launch of FIFA 22, we are giving away a P&E branded copy of the game signed by the team. To enter, all you have to do is drop us a comment down below with which North End player you would buy first for your ultimate team. Just make sure your settings on YouTube mean we can message you if you're our lucky winner. The winner will be announced during the international break, and good luck.
And that is it. Ooh, we always have a few tears. Just one last one for you. I know, but I'm sad inside because, you know, it's always great next to you. Because we haven't mentioned the new contract, which will take you into what traditionally is testimonial year. 10 years at Preston North End. Has it flown by?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Gally on the staff now, so we were travelling on the weekend, Birmingham away, and normally he's at the back playing cards with the lads, and I said, this is weird not seeing you back there, and he was laughing. But he was sat at the front with the staff.
Teacher's pet now.
Yeah, so it just shows how times have changed, and, you know, playing with him for so many years. But yeah, time does fly. I think he often says it, you know, you blink and it's, yeah, this is my 10th, yeah, so it's my 10th year, and obviously, yeah, I hope it's a special one for the team, for the club, for myself. Yeah, been a pleasure to be a part of this great club. Love it here, as everyone knows, and enjoy coming in every day, being a part of a great group, and always looking to improve, not just happy with what we've done so far, because it's been an upward curve. always looking for more, and you know, hopefully that's this season. We can keep improving and turning them draws into wins in the coming weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure to see you.
Pleasure
Thank you for your
mine.
company. Thanks for your honesty as well.
Cheers.
And good luck for QPR.
Thank
If
you.
you haven't got a ticket for the QPR match, then don't travel, because you can't pay on the day down there, but you can follow it on I Follow P&E. All the usual scenarios apply. And that is it for now. It just remains me to say, don't forget to like this one. Don't make me beg you again, but like it, subscribe to it, turn on your notifications so that when the next one drops in, I don't know if it could be as good as this one, but we're setting the bar high now, thanks to Hunt. So, you know, just do all those things. And until next time, close your ears a second. Call your rights!